Okay, this is going to be a little bit of an extension lesson on the polar graph system, and then finding reference angles and coterminal angles, what quadrant things are in. Okay, so just so you have an idea, if you move in this direction, that's a positive angle measurement, and when you move in this one, it's negative. Okay, so this is the 0 line, 90, 180, 270, 360. Okay, if you're using radians, this is 0, pi over 2, 1 pi, 3 halves, 2 pi. So we're going to start with degrees. Okay, so what we want to do is find the quadrant that 165 is in. Okay, so this is quadrant 1, this is quadrant 2, this is quadrant 3, and this is quadrant 4. So clearly 165 would be between 90 and 180, so that's quadrant 2. Okay, in order to find the reference angle, when you're in quadrant 2 and when you're in quadrant 3, you compare to 180. When you're in quadrant 4, you compare to 360. When you're in quadrant 1, whatever the measurement is the measurement. Okay, so at 160, okay, 180 minus 160, okay, all right, let me pull up my calculator. Okay, 180 minus 160, or 165, sorry, is 15. So my reference angle is 15 degrees, okay? And we'll be using that later with the unit circle. To find the positive coterminal, when it's degree, all right, you add 360 and subtract 360 and just make sure your amounts are there. So 165 plus 360 is 525. Okay, plus another 360 is 885. And why are those coterminal? Because at 165, let's say that's right here, if I made a full circle, what coterminal means basically is same spot, different measurements, different values. Okay, same spot, different values. Okay, now to get the negative ones, just do 165 minus 360, that's negative 195. Subtract 360, and that's negative 555. Okay? And those are the things. 315 would be in quadrant 4 because it's between 270 and 360. Okay? I would be comparing 360 and 315. So when I say compare, just subtract them. The reference angle is 45 degrees. Okay, to get the positive one, I do 315 plus 360, and then plus 360 again. Okay, so the two ones I have are 675 and 1035. Okay, and then if I do 315 minus 360, I get negative 45, and subtract 360 again, I get negative 405. Okay, for negative 100, okay, that would put me down into here, okay, past this, okay, because these are all 90 degrees. The other way you can look at it, if you wanted to find what the positive amount is, just add 360. So that's also a coterminal angle. So that's 260 in here, okay? So I can sort of, I'm going to be in quadrant 3. The reference angle, I already know one of them is 260. Okay, now 260 minus 180, because I'm in that quadrant, would give me an 80-degree reference angle. Okay, also to do 260 plus 360 would put me at 620. To get the other versions of that negative, negative 100 minus 360 is negative 460. Minus 360 again, okay, is negative 820. So you just have to have a little bit of number sense, okay? Now, 430 degrees. If you don't know what quadrant that's in, obviously that's too big, so let's subtract 360. So that's going to be 70 degrees, okay? So that's going to be one of them, okay? And 70 degrees puts me in quadrant 1. Well, my reference angle, if I'm in quadrant 1, it just is what it is. So that's going to stay 70, okay? So 70 plus 360, I already got 430. Let's add another 360. I get 790. Okay? I also want to, from that 430, I subtract 360. Now, that's not negative yet, but if I subtract 360 now, that's negative 290. Okay, and then subtract 360 again. Okay, it's negative 650. So with the degrees, it's probably easier to figure out when it's between 0 and 360 what the reference angle is. Okay. Okay, so you guys can try these. Okay, now let's talk about radian. Okay, to a certain degree, the radian ones are a little bit easier from a reference standpoint, sometimes harder from the quadrant standpoint. All right, now here's the idea. Basically, in these, okay, the fraction is between, okay, 1/2 and 0. In this quadrant, that's quadrant 1. In quadrant 2, it's between basically 1/2 pi and 1. So it's usually a little bit less than 1, okay, more than 1/2. In quadrant 3, okay, it's between 1 and 1.5. That's what 3/2 pi is. And then in this one, the fraction is in quadrant 4 is between 1.5 and 2. Okay, as far as the fraction goes. So 3/4 is between 1/2 and 1. So this is quadrant 2. Now, what's convenient about the reference angle, whatever number is under there, it's pi over that number becomes the reference angle. Now, to get the positive ones and the negative ones, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 pi and subtract 2 pi. Okay? So what I need to do in order to do that, I got 3/4 plus 2. Okay? I want to get a common denominator, so that's 4. So that's 8 over, so it'd be 3/4 plus 8/4. So 3/4 plus 8/4 would be 11/4. 11/4 plus an 8/4 would be 19/4. I would also subtract that. 3 minus 8/4 would be negative 5/4. Subtract another 8 would be negative 13/4. And those are the negative ones. Okay? 11 over 6. That goes in, 6 goes in one time with 5/6. So that would be quadrant number 4. My reference angle is easy. It's pi over 6. What I would do to find the positive and negative ones, I would take 11/6 plus 2 pi. So that would be, as a common denominator, it would be 11/6 plus 12/6. So, all right, so 11/6 plus 12/6 would be 23/6, plus another 12/6 would be 35/6. Okay, I would also subtract that. So 11 minus 12 would be negative 1 pi over 6. Subtract another 12 would be negative 13 pi over 6. All right, so negative 5 pi over 3, sometimes by adding 2 pi, okay, all right, so it's a common denominator, that's negative 5/3, all right, it's going to be plus and minus, if I get a common denominator, it would be 6 pi over 3, okay, so that's going to be 1 pi over 3, all right. All right, so that would be in quadrant 1. Okay, the reference angle would be pi over 3. One of the positive ones is that. I would add another one, that would be 7 pi over 3. Then I would subtract that. Okay, so subtract 6 pi, that would be negative 11 pi over 3. Subtract another 6 pi would be negative 17 pi over 3. Okay. 15 over 4. Once again, 4 goes into 15 3 times, so that's too big. So what I'm going to do is I got the positives, I got the negatives. Let's go reference angle. I ran out of board space here. Okay, so what I would want to do is I would want to do 15 over 4 minus 2 pi. So that would be 15 over 4 minus 8 pi over 4. Okay. So that would be 7 pi over 4. So that's actually one of the other positive ones. Okay? All right? Now, 7 pi over 4 would also be in quadrant number 4. Okay? Now, so I would add 8 pi over 4, that's 15 pi over 4. Okay? The subtraction of those, okay? So if I subtracted 8 pi over 4, it'd be negative 1 pi over 4. If I subtract another 8, it'd be negative 9 pi over 4. Sorry about the bad board space. My reference angle would be pi over 4. Okay? All right, so I'll clean that up a little bit as we go through. Okay? But that's what you want to do. Is basically you want to add and subtract 2 pi. All right? Okay, so I got, these are my answers for this one. Okay, these are my answers. I made that line too big. It's being sloppy. Okay. That's my answer for that one. That's my answer for that one. And that's my answer for that one. Okay? All right? So you guys can go ahead and try those.